What game is it and how many hours have you spent on it? Mine is probably Grand Theft Auto 5 since I've spent more than 5,000 hours playing it. I'll never forget the nights with friends years ago. Rainbow Six Siege is a close second, though. Story 1. RuneScape, over 4,000 hours on old school RuneScape and even more on RuneScape 2. If I still played RuneScape 3, I would be earning my 20-year cape this year. Story 2. A few things to consider. 1. The National Hockey League Series. I have been a regular since 1995. Halo 3 during college. I would love to know how many hours I played. It must have been a lot. Destiny. I used to complete the raids 3 times a week and then just play them for fun. I was among the top 5% for time played. Story 3. Diablo 2. I could not tell you how many thousands of hours I've played that game. I have been playing it since 1998, but just on my PlayStation, I've accumulated 568 hours. That does not include my time on the Switch. Story 4. World of Warcraft is at 5,000 or more. League of Legends is somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000, although it only increases by about 50 hours a year now. The third is likely Hearthstone or Apex Legends, both of which are above 1,000 but below 2,000. Story 5. I no longer play, but I'm sure it's World of Warcraft. I had some characters with over 200 days played on them. I raided 3 nights a week for about 13 years, plus played nearly every day to prepare for raids. I'd estimate it to be around 11,000 hours. Beyond that, I easily have 3,000 hours in Diablo 3. I currently have 3,500 in Path of Exile. I've played Destiny from the first beta, so that's about 1,500 hours. Probably another 500 in Factorio and 450 in Elden Ring. You might think I'm a total nerd, but I'm actually a normal person who loves gaming. I'm in shape, own a home, and have a great job. I'm married with a child. It's basically what I do whenever I have any free time. Story 6. I spent 1,200 hours on Fallout 4. I bought it a couple of months after its release when I was 16 years old, using my own money earned from mowing lawns in my neighborhood. I felt really proud of myself for purchasing something for myself instead of asking my parents to buy it for me. Story 7. World of Warcraft. I played for about 8 years, and I remember checking the time played on my main character, and it was literally 1 solid year based on hours played. I was floored. I didn't think I played that much, but playing almost daily. Yeah. Story 8. I started playing Destiny 10 years ago and still play Destiny 2 now. I have no idea what my hour count is, but I have never played a game more. Story 9. Fallout 3 and 4 combined would win, but Destiny hooked me deeply for over a year, maybe 2 of daily playing. Story 10. Left 4 Dead 2 was played when I was part of Team Microsoft, but now I'm on PlayStation. I definitely enjoy Modern Warfare 3, but I really should switch to PC gaming as well. Story 11. Pokemon Soul Silver was my childhood. Catching the legendary dogs Latios, Lugia, and Mewtwo were some of my favorite moments as a child. Story 12. Over 2,000 hours in Medieval 2, Total War, and that's just on the Steam version. I have been enjoying that game since it was released. Story 13. The most time? I haven't played in a long time, but it still holds a special place. I think about playing EVE Online every now and then. Story 14. I have about 20 years of experience with Doom, with some minor breaks. In public, people always gathered around to watch me play. The biggest compliment was when girls left behind the guitar-playing guys to watch me. I enjoyed playing it on an E701 SD, using the dot key as fire and the dime-sized touchpad as the mouse. Unfortunately, it ended up with blue sparks running on the surface of the motherboard, which charred while making a buzzing and whining sound. Story 15. About 4,000 hours in old-school RuneScape and 2,800 hours in Hearts of Iron 4 according to Steam. I haven't spent more than 1,000 hours playing any other game. Story 16. Either Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, or Black Ops 2. Back when I was in high school, those games were my childhood and my life. I miss being a carefree kid. I'm still a bit silly, but now I have more responsibilities. I dislike it. Story 17. StarCraft 2 was played in co-op mode daily for years just for casual games to pass the time. The only way to stop was to uninstall it. Story 18, World of Warcraft, when I was heavily addicted, likely exceeded a year of playtime. An 8-hour marathon felt effortless. Story 19, EverQuest and Destiny. I have no idea which one has taken more of my time, but they must be close, as no other game comes near the amount of time I have spent on these two. Story 20, World of Warcraft. Most of my characters have over 300 days of playtime, which amounts to at least 24 hours times 300, multiplied by 5 or 6 main characters. Story 21. I have over 3,000 hours in the Civilization series, according to Steam, and I played Civilization a lot before I bought it on Steam. Additionally, I played an old MMO called Ultima Online, which I have no statistics on, but I would be surprised if that didn't add up to the thousands as well. Story 22. Surprised I'm not seeing more Counter-Strike here. I don't know the hours. I got it when Half-Life came out and played it at LAN parties with friends growing up. I played it on and off from around 2000 to last December, but I haven't touched it in a while as the cheating seemed to get heavier than usual, and it wasn't a decent use of my relaxation time. If there is a God and I make it to heaven, I'll ask how many hours I played, but I seriously doubt it's less than 10,000. For me personally, the peak of Counter-Strike was around version 1.5, where you could use a custom spray, and people would spray inappropriate images in advertisements. Story 23, PC games. Valorant, Fall Guys, Genshin Impact. Android games. Brawl Stars, Fancade, Blockman Go, Clash of Clans. Story 24. I can't say for sure. The Civilization series, mostly Alpha Centauri, occupied my younger years. However, in the last 10 years, Paradox's grand strategy games have taken up my time. Europa Universalis, Stellaris, and Crusader Kings make it hard to choose between them. Story 25, World of Warcraft. I spent my 20s playing this game for over 12 hours a day for about 6 years. I was really depressed, and it was my only social interaction. The game helped me through some very tough years. Story 26, Game of Thrones at 120 hours and counting. Honor died on the beach, and an obsession was born. I stand corrected. I checked this last night. Destiny 2, 15 days. Story 27. GTA Vice City. The number of times I fell asleep while lying in my bed playing, then woke up the next morning to find my car off the road and some sweet 80s tunes playing. Story 28. As an adult after college, I have spent countless hours playing various games, including Company of Heroes 2, Game Maker Studio, and RPG Maker VX Ace, though I have yet to create anything significant with 2,000 hours and counting. Other games I have invested over 500 hours in include Garry's Mod, Payday 2, Town of Salem, Frostpunk, Barotrauma, Terraria, and Dawn of War 2, Retribution, as well as Oxygen not included. Reflecting on my childhood, I have no idea how many hours I spent on classics like Mario 64, GoldenEye, and The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, along with numerous other great titles. Additionally, I played Minecraft before it became mainstream around 2010 or 2011. I even remember creating one of the early adventure maps during the INFDev phase. It still frustrates me that a YouTuber made a video titled, "Playing the First Minecraft Adventure Map Ever," showcasing a map from 2016. Story 29. Documented in Steam, I have played RimWorld for about 1,500 hours. However, there might be other games I've invested more time in, especially if you consider game series. Potentially Civilization or NetHack. I have played NetHack on and off over many years. Story 30. Halo 3, Diablo 2, or RuneScape. I couldn't count the hours spent on all of them, and I probably don't want to know, but I wouldn't change it. Story 31. Unfortunately, War Thunder. At least on paper, I have 2,000 hours. If I knew my playtime for Halo 3 or Call of Duty, Black Ops, I might have more hours in one of those. Story 32. 8 years in EVE Online. Thousands of hours in each Souls game. A significant amount of time in Crusader Kings. Story 33. I have probably spent around 600 hours on Payday 2, mostly playing Death Sentence, with a minimum of 100 hours dedicated to completing every heist on Death Wish. Story 34. I have been playing Grand Theft Auto 5 online intermittently since 2013. After switching to PlayStation 5, I deleted my playtime data, but I am fairly certain I had accumulated around 400 hours. Story 35. I recently played Overwatch 1 and have recorded at least 600 hours. However, I spent most of my time on Call of Duty, World at War and Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, so those two are strong contenders, although I am unsure of the exact hours I invested in them. Story 36. Quite possibly Battlefield Bad Company 2. I was addicted to that game for years ever since it came out. I must have played close to or perhaps even more than 2,000 hours in that game until Electronic Arts closed down online multiplayer. I haven't decided to continue through Project Rome. Story 37. Probably Skyrim. The modifications available are incredible and add a significant amount of content. I have returned to the game numerous times, and it feels like a new experience each time. Story 38. I have spent over 3,000 hours playing matches, and even more watching esports and streams. I still play it as my main game. Story 39. Maybe not the most, but I spent many cherished hours on Thief, the Dark Project. What a gem that is. As for the most hours, it was probably Counter-Strike. Story 40. EverQuest. Between 1999 and 2004, I spent about 550 collective days playing that game. While I made many friends, some of whom I still stay in touch with today, it was also the most depressing period of my life. EverQuest was the first three-dimensional, massively multiplayer online role-playing game, and it felt like a completely new experience. I upgraded my Pentium 1 to 133 MHz, added 16 megabytes of RAM, installed my Voodoo 2 graphics card, and ensured I had a stable dial-up 56K connection. Story 41. My first PlayStation 4 game, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. I bought it on day one before I even had a PlayStation 4. I properly played it in December 2015 after Christmas, and I played it religiously every day from then until around 2019 or 2020. I finally sold it earlier this year, but I've been itching to play it again for some reason, despite having already spent an incredible amount of time in the game. Story 42. Definitely Minecraft. I began on a Kindle Fire, got the PlayStation 3 edition, which I still have, and I currently play on a laptop. Story 43. Samurai Showdown 2. I bought a very expensive Neo Geo in the mid-1990s just for this game and played it continuously for 20 straight years. Over that time, I am quite sure I have put over 10,000 hours into it. Story 44. Around 1,200 hours on Rocket League. That game gave me levels of happiness and existential dread you wouldn't believe. Story 45. Mine is a close tie between Call of Duty, Halo, League of Legends, and Overwatch across each series. Call of Duty and Halo were my go-to games growing up. Then I switched to PC and played League of Legends for a good 5 years before Overwatch came out. Story 46. 5,000 hours in Grand Theft Auto 5. I bet this person wears a black tank top and insists that Michael was not in witness protection. Story 47. Minecraft. Mostly modded. Unfortunately, there is no way to track exactly how much I've played, but it is by far the game I have played the most. Story 48. Star Wars. The Old Republic. I don't remember the exact play times, but I had 8 characters at max level, each with days of playtime. Now it's Overwatch. Story 49. It was Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom. I kind of rushed through it, but I am currently playing some building tycoon games on Roblox. I am thinking about buying Animal Crossing. If you know any project games, let me know. Story 50. I started during the Burning Crusade, took a break in 2016, returned in 2019, and have been playing intermittently since then. Story 51. It will either be Skyrim or Minecraft. Before I came to PC gaming, I played both extensively on my PlayStation 3 and enjoyed Minecraft a lot on my old tablets before that. I cannot tell you how much time I have spent on either, but it must be in the thousands of hours. I do not play Minecraft as much anymore, but I am currently in the Skyrim menu screen listening to the impressive main theme as I type this. Feels like a second home to me and likely always will be. It has helped me through tough times and good times as well. It frustrates me at times when it bugs out, crashes unexpectedly, or when the mods do not work well together, but I truly love that game. Story 52. Oh man, tough call. For me, it's probably a toss-up between Final Fantasy X, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, and Fallout 4. I have never really stopped playing any of these for long periods since they came out, and I'm reasonably sure I have thousands of hours invested in multiple playthroughs of each of them. Story 53. Skyrim. I'm pretty sure I'm up to almost 2,000 hours if you combine PC and Xbox 360 hours. Those might be rookie numbers to some, but I didn't start playing until the pandemic, so I'm a later bloomer. Story 54. With great sorrow, I say this, Clash of Clans. To give you an idea, I've spent 2,000 hours on Path of Exile, and that's not even half of my time on Clash of Clans. Story 55. Fortnite. I remember reaching level 98 in Season 4, Chapter 1, when the limit was 100. People had a hard time reaching level 80 for the Purple Omega. Story 56. Ultima Online. Most of my free time in college and a few years afterward was spent exploring Britannia. To this day, I occasionally feel the desire to start it up and play on a free server. Story 57. Overall, it is probably Minecraft. I don't have a way to check since not all versions track your hours. If not Minecraft, then it is Bloons Tower Defense 5. On Steam, which I use the most, Baldur's Gate 3 is my most played game. Story 58. Probably Minecraft or World of Warcraft. Recently, Elden Ring, and before that, Dark Souls 3. Story 59. The Gears of War series has been a favorite of mine since I was 14. Now that I am 31, I have slowed down recently, but it is still the game I have played the most. Story 60. Unfortunately, it's Rocket League. I've played for 800 hours, but I actually dislike it now. I have started playing Space Engineers more, so I think it will be that before long. I clocked in 20 hours over the past 2 days. Story 61. I think that my top 3 most played games are Fire Emblem Fates, Engage, and Three Houses. I'm a big fan of the series and have been playing Fire Emblem since high school. My first game was Awakening. I believe that I have spent over 1,000 hours on all 3 of them. Story 62. Overall, Counter-Strike is probably my favorite game, even though I have less than 100 hours in the last decade. I likely have played a total of 7,000 to 8,000 hours in the franchise. Story 63. It's probably the original Saints Row on the Xbox 360 if I had to guess. Hence, the profile picture. I have over 180 hours of single-player time logged on 2 different profiles currently. And that's not even counting the hours I spent playing it on my dad's old profile from 2006 to 2009 before our original launch 20GB premium model Xbox 360 experienced a hardware failure. I even remember the day my dad was gifted the game. It was wrapped inside a plastic Toys R Us bag that I was given to hold. I was 5 at the time, and I believe it was right around the time the game was released, so August to September 2006, as I don't remember it being cold outside when his realtor client presented it to him outside an open house while I was with him. Story 64. For what I can verify, I have spent over 500 hours on Skyrim on Steam, another 500 hours on the Special Edition, and an additional 500 hours on Xbox 360. However, I have probably invested the most time in Morrowind. I played that game extensively from the day it was released until Skyrim launched. Story 65. Skyrim probably has around 1,000 hours accumulated across PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PC versions. This is followed by The Witcher 3, with approximately 200 hours spent. Both of these games offer great replayability. Story 66. Wow, I think my classic main has over 1 year of playtime. Note that most of that is idle time, not active. In Axis and Allies, I have probably around 500 hours logged across hundreds of games. Civilization is my top series on Steam. Story 67. No Man's Sky. The quest to reach the center of the universe and reset it kept me engaged during the pandemic. I have no idea how many hours I spent playing. Story 68. Unreal Tournament 1999 and Diablo 2 each have thousands of hours of gameplay. Grand Theft Auto Online is probably getting close to those 2 by now. Did any of you have Xfire? Kept a log of what games you played and for how long? I would love to see my old data from that. Story 69. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on the PlayStation Portable. The clock maxed out at 9,999 hours, and I played for another year or so afterward. That game was my life for about 4 years. Story 70, Counter-Strike. I have around 10,000 hours across 3 Steam accounts. Smurfs, so I could play with my lower-ranked friends. I spent 8,000 hours in Escape from Tarkov, but I stopped playing that game 3 years ago. Additionally, I have about 5,000 hours across several other competitive first-person shooter games. Story 71. I have been playing Halo for as long as I can remember. My first memory of the game dates back several years. I am unsure of the total hours I have logged, but it could be in the multiple years or even a decade. Story 72. I need to get my first win of the day. I mainly play all random all mid. Grand Theft Auto 5 would be the second game. I need to spin the wheel at the casino to see if I win a car and stash house. Story 73. I'm not a big gamer, but I have probably spent around 500 hours on Fallout 4. I also played Clash of Clans for about 30 minutes almost every day for a couple of years. Story 74. I probably have over 1,000 days played in World of Warcraft across all my characters. I haven't actually added it up, and I don't want to know exactly. Story 75. Probably World of Warcraft, EverQuest, and Final Fantasy XIV. Aside from those, for non-massively multiplayer online games, there is Baldur's Gate 3, Mass Effect, and Skyrim. Story 76. Easily Rainbow Six Siege. I probably have more hours on Jaeger alone than on any other game except maybe Skyrim. In high school, my friends and I would play Siege for over 16 hours straight. Story 77. My most played games are For Honor and Skyrim, each with around 1,100 hours. However, if I total the time spent on Civilization V6 and Beyond Earth, those would lead at approximately 1,600 hours. I also have many similar colony and city-building strategy games, which together amount to roughly 2,500 hours in that genre alone. Story 78. I played a game called Tibia for 15 years. It was developed in Europe and was popular in Sweden and Germany, but it also had American servers. Before the updates, you could spend months leveling your character and lose all of it very quickly. It took hours to gain a level, and you could lose 1 or sometimes 2 levels upon death. Killing other players was amusing for this reason, but it was also very disappointing if you were the one getting killed. I started playing in 2001. Story 79. Battlefield 1. I was hooked. Seeing a blimp descend on a map was unreal. I played operations and frontline game modes all day and night. Good times. Story 80. Probably the original Grand Theft Auto. I loved that game back in the day. I've played through the newer ones, but I haven't had time to just enjoy it like I used to. Story 81. I played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on PlayStation 2 when I was a kid. I remember spending my summer playing that game nearly every day until school started. Story 82. Dark Souls. I don't know how many characters or how many hours, but it's the one game I can keep going back to and still love it time after time. Story 83. 11,000 hours on Grand Theft Auto 5 for PlayStation 4, and probably about the same amount of hours on Minecraft for PC, but there is no way to track your hours on that. Story 84. I used to play Skyrim all day and night, leveling up my character and completing missions to obtain cool armor and swords. Now, I rarely play anything, just Fallout once in a while. Story 85. Resident Evil 5. I got it the summer before my freshman year of high school and played it almost daily until I graduated. Story 86. Destiny. Nothing has gripped me quite like it. I have a short attention span when it comes to games. I own hundreds of games at this point, and yet Destiny is the only one I keep coming back to regularly. Games like Unescape, World of Warcraft, Battlefield, Minecraft, The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Grand Theft Auto. I've played them all over the years, but they don't even come close in hours accrued. My second most played game on Steam, to which I am conscious of dedicating time, is Terraria, and most of that time was in the first few months of its release. I have around 1,000 hours in that game and about 3,000 in Destiny. I also recognize that these are rookie numbers compared to others. However, it's a reflection of my having split my time across hundreds of games over the years. Name any mainstream title in the last 20 years, and I've probably played it. Story 87 WoW followed by EverQuest. I never like seeing how many days I've played in games, so I can't say what that number might be, but it's many since I played EverQuest from beta until World of Warcraft beta, and only quit World of Warcraft about 6 months ago. Story 88. Either Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Grand Theft Auto Online, or Fallout 4. I mostly lived in Vice City from 7th grade until about 19 or 20 years old. I still have most of the cheat codes in my muscle memory. Story 89. Ark. Survival Evolved was an amazing game before the developers made changes that affected it. I remember rushing home from school and looking forward to summer break so I could spend time on a server. I have the best memories playing that game with my little brother and hope I never forget them. Story 90. 3,000 hours on Escape from Tarkov. Following recent events regarding the new edition, I've been playing single-player Tarkov. Story 91. Probably Chrono Trigger in the mid to late 1990s. I played through it about 300 times at least. I just knew I could save Scala, but as it turned out, despite rumors, that wouldn't happen until years later when the PlayStation 1 game Chrono Cross was released. That ended a decade of playing a game so much that I can say I attempted to interact with literally every last pixel I could tap my Super Nintendo Entertainment System controller buttons at. Then there was Der Langrisser, also known as Langrisser 2, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4. Fable 2 was played over and over again from start to finish. After that, there was Skyrim. I own that one for every platform I can possibly have it for, but not the board game. I need that to complete my collection. I think, though, in recent years it was Fire Emblem Three Houses. Great game. Fallout 4 is emerging. Story 92 Modern Warfare 3. I think my playtime was about 200 days before I stopped playing and got a next-generation console. That game has a special place in my heart. I love it. Story 93. Warframe is a daily venture, especially since I have a friend who plays it almost every day. I love the game. It's fun, especially coming up with new ideas for builds. I'll keep playing until the servers are taken down. Story 94. StarCraft. I have been playing since 1998. I have no idea how many hours I have played, but if I average 3 hours per day, then it amounts to about 28,000 hours. Story 95. Easily World of Warcraft. I haven't played in a while, but I've invested over a year of my life into that gameplay. It's crazy to think about. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.